सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Slowly inching further with His grace, we have seen till the 5th Anuvaka. We should have started 2 days ago, but the threat of the inclement weather remained only as a threat. So we lost 2 days. But today, tomorrow and day after, we will try to see as much as possible. So the 6th Anuvaka, both the 5th and 6th Anuvaka have got the same Dhyana Shloka and the Rishi and the Phalashruti. So since we have already seen it in the beginning of the 5th Anuvaka, we will not cover that Dhyana Shloka here. So the entire 6th Anuvaka I will chant. Those of you who know can follow. Namo Jyeshthaya cha Kanishthaya cha Namah Purvajaya cha Parajaya cha Namo Madhyamaya cha Pagalbhaya cha Namo Jaghanyaya cha Buddhiyaya cha Namah Sobhyaya cha Pratisaryaya cha Namo Yamnyaya cha Kshemyaya cha Namah Urvaryaya cha Khalyaya cha Namah Shlokyaya cha Vasanyaya cha Namo Vanyaya cha Kakshaya cha Namah Shravaya cha Pratishravaya cha Namah Ashave Ashushenaya Chashurathaya cha Namah Shuraya Chavabindate cha Namo Varmine cha Varuthine cha Namo Bilmine cha Kavachine cha Namah Shrutaya cha Shrutasenaya cha. So technically, of the 11 Anuvakas that we have crossed half of it. We are now in the middle one, exactly middle one. This particular Anuvaka deals with the Sarvantaryamitva of Paramatma. Sarvantaryamitva, that Paramatma who is there in and through every aspect of this creation. Every time the Antaryamitva, Sarvantaryamitva, there is a bhajan that rings in my head. Tu Antaryami Sabka Swami. Don't ask me to sing. So he is the Antaryami, the Prabhu, the Lord of everything. And that is stated or given in this particular Anuvaka. So the first Rik or first mantra, repeat after me. Namo Jyeshthaya cha Kanisthaya cha. Namaha, salutations. Jyeshthaya cha Kanisthaya cha. Jyeshtha, the one who is elderly. Kanishtha, the one who is younger. The one simple meaning is, to all elderly, you are the expression of Paramatma, therefore my salutations. To all those who are young, younger than me, meaning younger than whatever is your age reference. To all those who are elder, to them my salutations, as Lord Shiva himself is expressing through you. And that which is that or those who are younger than me, unto them all my salutations. So that is one simple meaning. Jyeshthaya cha. Jyeshtha, he is the creator of all this. Therefore, with reference to this creation, he is Jyeshtha, the most elderly. That primordial cause from which everything has spring forth from. So when somebody asks who created him, he is self-expressive, does not need to be created. He is Jyeshtha. Jyeshthaya cha. Now there are some technical people who will say, well, the creator is Brahma. तो उसके भी बाप है. He is elderly or the most elderly with comparison to Brahma as well. That Paramatma who expresses as Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, that Paramatma who is worshipped here as Rudra, to that Paramatma who is the Jyeshtha, because of whom all this creation came into existence. So the substratum of this creation, substratum of even Brahma, to that Paramatma Jyeshthaya cha. Now Jyeshtha can be from various perspectives. Who is the most strong? In comparison to him, there is none like him. Therefore, he is the Jyeshtha with respect to strength. If only strength and no knowledge, then that Sreshtatva gets corrupted. Because if there is lot of strength, lot of power, and there is no knowledge guiding it, even the weakest one, you appoint them as to monitor the class. Usually the nerdy one is asked to monitor the class, and the nerdy one is not very strong, but seems to get all the authority. Up until then, he or she would have been the one who would have been the most mischievous kid within the group. But suddenly getting the power, you want to throw the authority around. It has to be guided through knowledge. Therefore, he is Sarvajñatva also, meaning with respect to knowledge, he is all-knowing. Therefore, he is called Jyeshtha. So, to that all-knowing Rudra, to all-knowing Paramatma, my salutations. With respect to ashrama, there is Sreshtatama. So, who is in the lower rung of the entire chain of ashrama dharma? Brahmachari is the beginner, and the brahmachari is supported by various other ashramas. Therefore, the brahmachari is at the lowest rung. Sreshta, better than the brahmacharya is grihastha. Better than grihastha are the vanaprastha. Now, vanaprastha is not just age classification. Those who have retired, no, you are just tired. Who is vanaprastha? Vanaprastha is the one who has grown independent of all attachments and securities. Better than or sreshtatama than them are the sannyasa, complete renunciates, and Paramatma is nitya sannyasi. Nitya sannyasi, a complete renunciate. Now, first of all, he does not hold on to anything to renounce. Therefore, he is called, with respect to the ashrama dharma, which is the sreshta. Therefore, in the form of the sannyasa dharma, he is the nitya sannyasi. Therefore, salutations to you in the form of sannyasa dharma. See, it is also said that when Bhagavan wanted to come and help this creation, he came in the form, when Ravana, Kumbhakarna and these people were terribly taunting humanity, Bhagavan came in the form of Ramji, supported by Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. Lakshmana was always with Rama, Shatrughna was always with Bharata. Two sets of equal looking, similar looking pairs. What proxy that he created. Anyway, I will have to go out, I will have to take Lakshmana's support. When I am gone, there can be a similar looking proxy in the form of Bharata, and so he came with spare parts in the form of Bharata and Shatrughna. Now, Lakshmana, he followed him right since very young. Anywhere that Bhagwan Ramji went, it was his duty, it was his dharma to serve his brother. At the end of Ramavatara, Bhagwan Ramji asks everybody. So, he asked Lakshmana also, hey Anuja, hey Lakshmana, you have been serving me so meticulously all through this entire avatar. I feel like giving you a boon. What can I give you? So, Lakshmana thought for a while, smiled. Bhagwan, phas gaya na. There was a mischievous thought in Lakshmana's head. He said, I was the younger one. Therefore, right since that young age when I started following up until now, I had to continuously follow you and serve you everywhere because you are older than me, right? So, he said, Bhagwan, if at all you take next avatar and I have to accompany you, bless me that I am the older one. So, Bhagwan said, ठीक है, तथास्तु. So, in the Rama Avatara, it was that Paramatma who came as Jeshtha. In the Krishna Avatara, he came in as the Kanishtha, the younger one. Then Lakshmana in the form of Balarama must be thinking, still I thought by becoming Jeshtha, I'll get all the limelight and credit. It still goes to him. Anyway, I think my job, whether I am on the other side or this side, I'll have to help and serve him only. So Bhagavan becomes Kanishta. So the one who takes the Ramavatara becomes Jeshtha. And one who takes Krishna Avatara becomes Kanishta. In Hanuman Chalisa, there is a beautiful reference of how Hanumanji, when he visits Sita ji in Lanka, there is a very beautiful doha there, chaupai there. And it says, Sukshma Rupa Dhari Siyahi Dikhava, Bikata Rupa Dhari Lanka Jarava. Usually that is not the main scripture to refer to, but being having a special heart for Hanumanji, I had to mention that. That when you are with your elders, when you are with your well-wishers, when you are with those who are respect worthy, immediately become Kanishta. And when you have to stand up for some firm principles in life, become Jeshtha. Flexibility. To know when to become Jeshtha and when to become Kanishta. So Kanishta, there is another beautiful meaning. To the one who is Paramatma, he is Jeshtha. Now with reference to that Paramatma, who can be Kanishta? Brahmaji can be Kanishta. All the other Devatas can be Kanishta. And who is the Kanishtest? Who is the youngest of the youngest of the young? It is the Jivatma. So to that Jivatma expressing, all around me it is nothing but that Rudra alone. Therefore, my salutations to every form that expresses, because that Jivatma is also nothing but that Paramatma waiting to realize his or her own nature as Paramatma Tattva. Therefore, even in that Kanishta is that Paramatma alone, therefore my salutations. So to the Jivatma or the Samsari, so don't ridicule the Samsari, because even the Samsari is the expression of that Paramatma alone. Now Samsari can be from any ashrama dharma, can be Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha or Sannyasa. Who is the Samsari? The one who is holding on to the samsara as reality. So in the Brahmacharya ashram, when they take Brahmacharya ashram very sincerely, then what becomes important is how much of scriptures you have learned, how much of knowledge you have learned. That becomes your samsara. I have memorized entire Bhagavad Gita. Some of these people that I have met are such incredible Medha Shakti. There was one person that I specifically remember. I was in an ashram in the outskirts of Vijayawada, and this person was traveling through. He saw the ashram board, he stopped by, entered in, and he saw me, Brahmachari, sitting there. And namaskar chamatkar ho gaya, and then he was a grihastha, very well read, so well read that he knew entire Bhagavad Gita he had memorized. Not just Bhagavad Gita that he had memorized the Shankara Bhashya for Bhagavad Gita, Shri Bhashya, Ramanuja Bhashya, Madhva Bhashya, and he had also memorized the Gudartha Deepika, which is by Madhusudana Saraswati ji. So almost like 4-5 different bhashyas on Bhagavad Gita he had memorized. He had memorized about 21 Upanishads and its bhashya. And he had memorized entire Ramayana, 24,000 shlokas. As soon as he did Namaskar, he talked about himself that he knew all these things on the tip of his fingers. So I should say, मुझे वो tip दे दे. Give me those tips. And then he says, chalo, let's do Shastrartha. See, having learnt, having memorized the Brahmacharya ashrama, then that becomes samsara, and that becomes the point of consolidation of the ego to boast and bloat itself, saying that I know so much. His point was, I know so much, nobody recognizes me. So, but for recognizing you, I don't need to go through the hoop of Shastrartha with you. So I had some shawl and some fruits, and I put the shawl on him, gave some fruits. I said, use this knowledge to improve yourself and improve others. Here, thus you go recognized by a Chinmaya Mission Brahmachari that you know all these things. I'm satisfied. I mean, not in exactly these words, but as soon as I understood what his standpoint was, I mean, salutations to that Medha Shakti that he has learnt all that, memorized it. So when he was in Gurukula, he has learnt it, and that becomes the point of substantiating the ego. Brahmacharya. Grihastha ashrama, first you establish yourself in some vyapara, and then vyapara makes dhana, then with the dhana you make some griha, then because now you have griha, the griha has to be filled with Lakshmi. Therefore you get Griha Lakshmi. Grihastha. Now he is well established in Griha. Grihastha ashrama dharma. Then that becomes the samsara of the Grihastha. Now Vanaprastha, they have their own samsara. Have you ever spoken to people who have reached that age? They can repeat. If they have somebody who can listen to them patiently. In 1943, and even if it is the nth time that you are going to them, they have run a senior citizen home back in India. After starting it, then I ran to US. Because I go for satsang there, I conduct classes there, and then sit down with them. Once or twice I hear, the third time I was getting agitated, by fourth time I understood. All that they need is somebody who can sincerely listen to them. By the end of my tenure in staying in Vijayawada, I knew each person and their entire story. With the year, with the different characters, constantly nostalgic. You see, you think that sannyasa ashrama does not have its samsara? It's its samsara itself. The first time I came here, I think being in Chinmay mission as an Acharya, the most scariest moment in my life was I came into US in 2002. 4 days later, Guruji came. 4 days or 3 days later, Guruji came in. And he introduced me to the congregation. And we had a board meeting in that room, next the office room which is. And he introduced me to the board members. And then he looked at me and said, this whole thing is 1.76 million, now that is your responsibility. It's a big stone like because for me immediately the translation was 1.76 times 50. That many rupees? Hey Ram. It's own samsara there. So samsari does not have to mean that any jivatma who is still tied down to the concept of body, mind and intellect and behaves as an ego is a samsari. He is kanishta. Another beautiful meaning of kanishta is in the Dakshinamurti Stotra. It is said, Vruddha Sishya Gurur Yuva. He is Nitya Yavana. Therefore, all his students have always been Vruddha. Even if it is a young boy, still Vruddha because Janma Janmantara, for so many lives together. And Bhagavan is still batting with his first expression. And we have come and gone, come and gone, come and gone. In that way, he is Nitya Yavana, we are Vruddha. So, Vruddha Sishya Gurur Yuva. He comes in the form of the Guru and he is always in that Nitya Yavana, therefore he is Kanishta. To that Kanishta form of the Lord, my salutations. Namo Jesthaya cha Kanisthaya cha. Continuing, he says, repeat after me. Namah Purvajaya Chaparajaya cha Namah Purvajaya Chaparajaya cha. Salutations to the Lord who is Purvaja. And salutations to the Lord who is Aparajaya. Salutations to both. Salutations to the one who is Purvaja. Purvaja, the one who is firstborn. It's almost like the earlier meaning which already has been explained. Aparaja, anything after him that has been created or that which manifests. All that which manifested is Rudra himself, therefore my salutations. So what is he talking about? He is talking about, in this mantra it is referring to that one causeless cause is Purvaja. Everything else apart from that Paramatma Tattva is nothing but the effect. Paramatma, his Shakti. As soon as Shakti is recognized, Shakti is Aparaja. Identifying with that Shakti, he becomes Ishvara. Ishvara, who takes care of all his potentiality, becomes Hiranyagarbha. That Hiranyagarbha starts creating. That creation needs maintenance. That creation requires recycling and the creation itself. So, the entire cycle becomes the effect. So, to the entire cause and effect, my salutations. Somebody said another beautiful meaning. Aparam jayate. Aprama porandavan. The one who is born later. Somebody, one of the meanings is so beautiful. He says, what is it that is both cause and effect? It is this present moment. That which is the result of the earlier cause is this effect. And this very moment, how you act, respond, react to, becomes the cause for next moments. So, when it is being talked about Purvaja and Aparaja, it is not actually talking about cause and effect, that present moment which is the very cause as well as effect. So, salutations to that Rudra who is this very present moment, this very presence. Have you ever observed that when somebody asks you time, what they are expecting is the present time, and what we end up telling them is past? They are going into technicalities, because by the time they ask the question, you turn your watch, hopefully you do not have a cup of coffee in your hand, and you turn your hand and you look into the watch and read the time yourself and you process it and then give the time to the other person. That moment has already passed by. So, do not try to see that Paramatma in the present moment, but rather see that Paramatma in the very presence. It is not a cognized time, it is the cognition itself, therefore it is presence. So, to that cognition which is presence, my salutations. Therefore, when I sit on the seat of meditation and meditate, I am presence. Presence also drops. What remains? I am. I also drops. What remains? The cognition, amness. Just the being that exists. That cognizing being is what is being saluted here, not the cause, not the effect. That which is both cause and effect, which is this very moment. To that Paramatma, my salutations again and again and again. Aparajaya Purvajaya. Another meaning. Purvajaya means the one who is before all this creation came into manifest. Aparaja, the one who alone exists after this creation, entire creation ceases to exist. Actually, you are talking about the same point from two different standpoints. That one who is ever existing before the creation manifests, and the one who alone remains when the creation becomes unmanifest. So, Purvaja, Aparaja. So, our Skanda Deva in his Bhashya, he says, Vishwasmad api purvameva vasate, which is exactly what I explained. Asmad Vishwasya purvam eva vasate. And the one aparatvat, and the one who even afterwards vasate tatra sthite eva, the one who alone exists, to that Paramatma who is ever existing, my salutations. Namah Purvajaya cha Parajaya cha. So, there is a slight difference in both the explanations given. Hope you have got it. Continuing. Namo Madhyamaya cha Apagalbhaya cha. Namo Madhyamaya cha Apagalbhaya cha. Namo Madhyamaya cha. So, it seems like a sequence. Purvaja, Aparaja. Madhyama, the one which is manifest. I am trying to give various kinds of standpoints and meanings for each word. So, Purvaja, Aparaja. The one who is Madhyama, the manifest world or the manifest expression, is Paramatma. Apagalbhaya cha, to the one who is in the form of an infant. Infant, just born. So, to that just born infant, to that which is just expressed, my salutations. Now, this is a very beautiful mantra again, Madhyama. What does one meaning of Madhyama I have already given? That which is in between Purvaja and Aparaja, which is manifest. Manifest expression. The second meaning is Madhyama, that which is not partial, taking sides. That which is Madhyastha. Madhyastha, neither on this extreme nor that extreme, not taking sides with any extremes. That which is in the middle. That which is impartial. So, Madhyama means that which is impartial. And because it is impartial, Madhyama also has the meaning of being brave. And because it is impartial, Madhyama also carries another meaning, that it is very confident. Now, how do these three things come into picture? Madhyama is understood as impartial. Now, in various situations, if you have to be impartial, you need to be both brave, to not to stoop down to any side, and whatever is the conviction or whatever is the righteous mid path, you have to have the clarity and the confidence to be able to explain it to both sides and to bring them in the mid path. So, therefore, Madhyama means impartial, brave and confident. All three put together is Madhyama. To be impartial is not that very easy. I mean, in our own lives, various situations, we swing. And based from our swinging standpoint, we have the audacity to point fingers at Bhagavan, especially in Krishna avatar, and say, he is the most partial avatar. That's why to understand Rama is easy. One word, he stood by that word. One arrow and one wife. And Bhagavan Krishna is contrary to that. Not understanding Bhagavan Krishna, they say, understand the philosophy of Krishna and live like Rama. Have you heard such statement? कृष्ण को समझो और राम की तरह जियो. In every standpoint of even Bhagavan Krishna, all that he was highly impartial. But when we look at from our own tainted view, from that which is very speculative of our own morality, it seems like he is not partial. I mean, he is not impartial. He is very partial. That who has always remained as impartial. To be impartial is very difficult. It's almost a situation wherein you do your damned, you don't your damned. There's a very funny story that I read. This was mostly about parenting. So this parent, he thought he had all luxuries, so he said, let me give my children all kinds of experience so that by the time they grow up, they have a comprehensive idea about life and living. So as much as he created lots of avenues for the kids to learn, he would also make sure that they will go out and experience the outside world. So one of the things that he had was every year meticulously they would go out into the wilderness to camping. By the time the kids were 14, 15, 16 years old, they had made up their minds. What is this? Going in the wilderness, what fun is it? When I grow up, when I have my children, I will make sure never ever to take my children into such situations. I will give them all luxuries. And never took their children to camping. Their children, when they grew up, when they saw that other parents take their children once in a while to camping, other things, so they made up their mind by the time they were 15, 16 that I will make sure that my children get that experience. Cycle continues. And that is why you see that the grandparents and the grandchild seem to connect quite a bit. A lot. Because in between is the parent who seems to be doing exactly what he did not like in the parents, and the grandchild or their children end up liking grandparents because they are other than their concepts and their perception is unlike their own parents. So every set of parent, it becomes very difficult to be impartial. You say that I am very impartial. It is not an easy task. I have learnt it through my own burning my fingers in a hard way. And I have to give in with my kind of impatience and aggressive Krodha, very early I burnt my fingers. I hear one side story, jump. Now I have learnt what I get to hear is truth, but that truth which is convenient for this side. They go to the other side, the same story, the same episode is described in a completely different picture. And we have to sit down and very match. Okay, these aspects of the story match. The rest of the aspects are add-ons into it. Now, there are times, situations wherein you can't take both sides. I learnt it from one of my teachers. So, we had some quarrel or something happened and we had two sides and both of them went for justice to this teacher. And instead of justice to either side, he said, stupid fellows, you have come here to study and this is what you end up doing, therefore both of you get punished. His standpoint of justice, that both of you deserve to be punished, and both of us got to run through that entire school ground. I don't know if you have ever had such kind of punishments. Ours was 2 volleyball courts, 2 soccer grounds, 1 hockey ground and 4 basketball courts. 10 rounds. Okay. So, whenever we had problem, we would sort it out among ourselves and not go to him at all. Why? If we go to him, then he will make us both run around. To be impartial is, because to be impartial, you have to have that absolute clarity, confidence, and to be brave to stand for that standpoint. Come what may. Madhyamaya cha. Now, apagalbhaya cha, the root word is galbha. What does galbha mean? Grishtatartaka samharaha ityarthaha. Samharaha ityarthaha. That which can be destroyed is galbha, or that which is destroyed is called galbha. Apagalbha, that which cannot be destroyed and that which has the capacity to destroy everything else. So, the moment I heard this, there was one joke by Guruji, and I just kept thinking of that joke and kept laughing to myself like a madman. The joke is, there was this father and son. The son was still little, 4 years, 5 years old, and the father was vexed because any toy, anything that you bring for that kid, he would rip it apart, break it. Not even an hour or two, it's all broken up. So one day he explained his issue to the toy store, and the toy store fellow, he said, "This is unbreakable, sir." And he showed it, he hit it from various angles, unbreakable. You will not regret having this. So he went and gave it to his son. The next day when he came back from office, the son was still playing with that. I said, "Acha, true to its words, this is truly unbreakable." The father asked, "How was it, beta?" The son said, "Dad, this is the awesomest gift that ever I have got." He said, "Why is it awesome?" He said, "With this, I broke everything else at home." Apagalbha. That which cannot be destroyed and that which destroys everything is called Apagalbha. In the Pralaya Kala, Indra, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all these are completely destroyed. Everything, not just the creation, all these various aspects are also destroyed. And what remains? Apagalbha, that one truth alone. To that Paramatma who consumes everything and yet stays unconsumed. As the Kala Swarupa, he consumes everything. As the Akala Swarupa, he continues to exist. So, Apagalbha, Akala Kala Swarupa. That which is in the form of time consumes everything, and that which is beyond time and stays unconsumed, undestroyed. Another subtle thought in this Apagalbha. Brahmakara vrittim arudaha saguna brahmam badhayati iti apagalbha. Understood? Brahmakara vrittim arudaha saguna brahmam badhayati iti apagalbha. So, we take crutches or baby steps. So, as an initial seeker, it is very difficult to just shut your eyes and be embedded or abide in that consciousness. Therefore, the next step given is that have a saguna form. Nama, Rupa, Guna, some form taken. And you start with puja, upasana, japa, tapa, and you divert the entire mind's attention towards that saguna form. In the culmination of that upasana, that bheda drishti of sagunatva is completely dissolved. So much so that there is no more difference between I, the worshipper, and the one who is worshipped. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he used to worship Kali Devi in that Dakshineshwar temple. It was owned by that Rani. And she knew the intensity of this sadhaka of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So, she understood it from her perspective, and people thought she was giving him a long rope. And one day they had it. And they were orthodox Brahmins, and their orthodoxity was not given that validity as much as she would have given value to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So, one day they saw something, they lost it. Said, this is it, we will get this fellow out of this place. And what was he doing that day? He had the entire puja thali, and instead of worshipping Kali, he had put on the mala himself, he had put on the tilak himself, he had eaten the prasad and the naivedya himself. And when the Rani asked, his answer was, I don't see a difference between I and that mother. Mother alone is working through here. Therefore, mother alone was fed, mother alone was decorated. When he was become one with that mother within, that there is absolutely no difference between that murti or this expression. But it was not a an expression created and justified, was truly abiding in that oneness. Similarly, when the sadhaka sits and starts with the saguna, finally merge into that saguna to go beyond all guna kriya. Therefore, what is apagalbha? With that sagunatva, everything else is destroyed, and finally that sagunatva also gets destroyed, to be merging only in that conscious spirit. Therefore, apagalbhaya means brahmakara vrittim arudaha saguna brahmam badhayati iti apagalbha. So, to such apagalbha, to such Lord who cannot be destroyed, but is the one who consumes everything and destroys everything, to that awesome destructive power, my salutations. No, I will come. There are various meanings. Now, one of the meanings given, as rightly identified, is to the one who is an infant. So, one silly meaning is, they are the ones who destroy everything at home. They destroy the peace also. They are bundle of joy, but everybody else who has to sustain that bundle of joy, they are not in joy, they are destroyed. Now, apagalbha, grishtarthakaha is one meaning. The second meaning is, galbha also means the one who is fully developed. Developed in the sense, all the limbs and everything is fully developed. So, apagalbha, the one whose limbs and organs of perception action are not fully developed, the one who is in infancy. So, to that new infancy, that innocence, my salutations. So, one is samharaha, the other one is the meaning of full developed expression. Galbha means. So, apagalbha, that which is not fully developed. Therefore, to that infancy, and from that Paramatma standpoint, everything that is manifest, isn't it in infancy? So, to this infancy of manifestation, my salutations to that Paramatma in that infancy. Namo madhyamaya cha apagalbhaya cha. Continuing to the next mantra. Namo jaghanyaya cha buddhniyaya cha jaghanyaya cha buddhniyaya cha. Jaghanyaya cha, the various meanings. One meaning is the one who is born from the yoni. Yoni is the womb. Jaganyaya cha also means the one who is born. So, salutations to the one who is born. Buddhyaya cha, the one who is growing from a root. So, to all the plant kingdom. So, technically speaking, all that which expresses or manifests or takes birth is divided into 4 classifications according to the Hindu mindset. Yonija, or they are also called Jarayuja, the one which is born through the yoni, the womb. So, after a few months of what do you call that period? Gestation period. And then the child is born. They are all called mammals. So, mammals are born from the yoni, yonija. Then there are those who are born through the andaja. So, anda is a Sanskrit word. Andaja, the one which are born from the eggs. So, there are various kinds which are born through the eggs. Svedaja, born out of moisture. Born out of moisture, various bacteria and things like that. Have you ever put any organic food in a closed container and forgot? Every grihastha ashrama should have such biotechnology at least once. Especially when the children bring in their lunch and they have not had it and it is still lying in that box and it was there and you went for a vacation. 3-day, 4-day vacation, came back, somewhere something not good. And then you open that lunch bag and you see everything open, and not just open, some things are crawling. Where was it born? Svedaja, from the moisture. And the best example of moisture, the things which are born out of moisture, Sveda, another meaning is, Sveda means sweat. So, on the upper hemisphere, when you don't take care, there are those zoo ban jata hai andar. There is all kinds of creatures start crawling in. They are called lice. They are Svedaja, born out of Sveda. And the last one is called Udbhija. Udbhija, the one which splits open this earth to shoot out, sprout out. So, here he is taking care of all those creatures that are being born from the yoni. In that way, both men, the human beings and all other mammals can be covered. But many of the commentators very specifically say that here they are talking only of the animals that are born from the yoni, not the human being. Jaghanyayacha. Budhnyayacha. Budhna means roots. That which grows from the roots, meaning all trees, plants, shrubs, including the vastly cultivated crop in America which yields nothing. Do you know what it is? Lawn industry. It is vastly cultivated but yields nothing. Oh, if you want to go into details, probably it yields a lot of what do you call this, allergies in the season. So, including the grass, everything that shoots out, sprouts out from the root. Budhna is the root and budhnyaya, that which is growing from that root. Another meaning of budhna is, who is that root? Paramatma is the root. And this entire creation, shakhotpatti, grows, branches out from that root, which our Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter very clearly says. Urdhva moolam adhashakham ashwatham prahuravyayam. Go to Kathopanishad, it says Urdhva moolam avakshakham. It's the same word, Pathantara. Bhagavan Krishna copied it from Kathopanishad, but he changed it. urdhvamulam adhashakam, avakshakam. Moola or the root or the source can always be urdhva, will always be urdhva, meaning subtler than anything that shoots out from it. And this entire creation is the substratum, the root or the source is Paramatma alone. So, to that root from which the entire creation branches out from, to that Buddhyaya, to that root cause, my salutations. Namo Jaganyaya cha Buddhyaya cha. Buddhyaya cha. Continuing to the next mantra. Namasobhyaya cha Pratisaryaya cha Namasobhyaya cha Pratisaryaya cha. So, salutations to that Paramatma. Sobhya. Sobhya means that where you experience both extremities, polarities. That where you experience both papa and punya. That where you experience both heat and cold. So, the polarities are experienced of papa punya is experienced in this bhuloka. Therefore, O Lord, special salutations to you, because you have made this bhuloka your abode. Every other form of God has a separate world. Bhagavan Vishnu has Vaikuntha, Bhagavan Krishna has Goloka, Devi has what is that called? Shri Loka, or the Meru is called Sri Loka. And who else? Various of these gods are various other places. And Bhagavan Shiva, what has he made his abode? This Bhuloka. So, O Lord, salutations to you, the one who has made this very abode, this very Bhuloka as your abode. Sobhyaya, that field wherein you have an opportunity to grow or to evolve and devolve. Is there a word called evolve? I used it. Get used to it. Is there a word? Oh, it is there? Okay, but you got my meaning, right? So, with that field wherein you have got the equal opportunity to make it or break it. So, that world is called Sa-Ubha, Ubhabhya. That where both are a possibility. So, that which is giving you the scope to experience both based on your own choice, to such Bhuloka or the expression of Bhuloka, my salutations. To the substratum of this Bhuloka, my salutations. Namasobhyaya cha Pratisaryaya cha. Pratisarana means to move. Sru sarana. Sru sarati. Pratisarana, that which is constantly moving. So, in the earlier mantra, Jaganyaya cha Buddhyaya cha, all sentient forms are being worshipped. And in this mantra, Pratisarana He is talking about the entire creation which is constantly moving, constantly changing. Even to that change, even to that constant change that is happening, my salutations. See, when we say that this entire creation is Paramatma, it is inclusive of his expression which is constantly changing. To that Paramatma who is supporting, this is a subtler meaning of Pratisarana. Where does the Pratisarana happen? The external Pratisarana, external changes that happen are cognition because of the constant change within. And what changes within? It is the thought. That which supports the thought, to such Paramatma, by whose touch, by whose presence, the thought has the capacity to move. That which gives the movement to the thought, to that Paramatma, my salutations. Therefore, when we sit on the seat of meditation, where should our focus be? Swamiji, when I close my eyes, I get a lot of thoughts. Congratulations. Because you are still alive, there will be thoughts. What do? What can I do? Nothing. What do you mean by nothing? And I get such agitative thoughts. Who asked you to do the quality analysis of the thought? Meditation is not a platform to sit and do the qualitative analysis of the thought, but instead to cognize that I am that consciousness which supports the thought to move. When I, the consciousness, plug myself out of that thought, what happens to that thought? It drops. Because it cannot exist without that support of consciousness. So, that support, because of which there is movement to such Pratisarana Rupa of Paramatma, my salutations again and again. We will continue tomorrow. Still 15 minutes. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.